talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll before you talk about money with anyone.
Why?
It's
It
culturally
bothers
bred.
me. It bothers me.
Culturally bred that
Like
way.
for me now, man, like I don't care. Like this is more important to me than $500.
Exactly.
And 500, but people like you take this. Like let me come back to something. If you and I, we wouldn't throw out $500, right? People are like $500, but someone will waste 5 hours with someone.
Absolutely.
Hey, it's JayJayLive here. You're watching Entrepreneurs Unleashed, where we're going to unleash some great info to help you scale your biz.
Wonderful, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Entrepreneur Unleashed. I'm your host, Edward Collins, and if you've been following at any length, you know that my number one goal for you is to shortcut your journey, and the best way to do that is to learn vicariously through others. So I brought JayJayLive here so that you can learn from his experience and take your life and your business to the next level. I don't want to delay it anymore because I know that this guy's going to be dropping some bombs, so let's just get right into it. JayJay, I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Studio looks great.
We try.
Setup looks amazing. It's always great working with pros when you come in and it's not done like on a Zoom.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, don't get me wrong. The Zoom podcasts are pretty fun too, but there's something about a face-to-face. So you get to sit down and have a good conversation.
Man, I'm from show business, man. I need the lights. I need the sound. I need the pretty girls. I need the whole thing. You know?
It's a process.
Fill my ego up.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad that you're here. Obviously, I've gotten to know you a little bit,
Sure.
but the audience may not yet know you. So could you give us like just a brief summary of who you are now, like what you're doing now so that we can get some context?
Yeah, man. Well, look, 17 years ago, I wanted to do two things: stand on stage, tell the world my story. I started in show business. So for a long time, I was a magician, a professional magician.
I love that.
Card tricks, coin tricks, steal your mind, read your mind, steal your watch.
Yeah.
Still lit women's phone numbers. Like I was the king, right?
Okay.
And my job was to come into boring events like lawyers, doctors, plastic surgeons, accountants, tax guys.
Yeah.
And like raise the vibration and the energy of the room. And I built my career in show business. However, I struggled like so many people in show business for so many years because I didn't understand the things that I learned today. Because I realized it wasn't about talent or skill or having the best props. There was some really key components to like scale my business, but I didn't know what I was doing wrong. And I was led to believe by everyone telling me to do these things, but I was like broke. I couldn't get the clients, couldn't get the cash flow, couldn't get the connections and the choices. And now, 17 years later, I was speaking on stage. And then when COVID happened, couldn't do events anymore. Couldn't high five, touch, hug, kiss. Then I was like, man, I built my whole business understanding how to build news media and how to like leverage the power of standing out. And once I understood that, I'm like, wow, I could really help people, whether they're an accountant or a plastic surgeon or a podcaster or a actor, it doesn't matter. Give them the tools and the resources and the truth of how to actually get known, how to get more money, how to get more clients.
So that's what you're doing full
today,
time right now.
Yeah. Other than speaking, I run a PR firm.
PR
so
firm.
we kind of umbrellaed it as a PR firm. But really, what I'm really doing, like what you do, is people are not buying PR.
No.
They're buying belief.
Yeah.
They're buying confidence. They're buying the feeling to be like, hey, man, I know where you're at. I know what you're going through. Let me be your guide to give you the tools and the strategy and the truth. Because people are so tired, man, and you know this, of this marketing BS, this hype. And I'm like, I've seen it. People will throw 20 grand on a funnel. They'll throw 9 grand at this, 2 grand at this. I'm like, but guys, you're not understanding the reality of this. Like it's like someone hasn't come into your business and actually looked at it and like, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's like no one's giving you the truth.
No real feedback.
There's no real honest feedback. And the way that the team and I have this really strong core purpose, like we're not going to lie to get the deal. Even if they were like, here's $2 million. Like I'm like, you don't need it. Like that's not. You need to focus on this first. And here is the information, so that you understand. Like no one's ever told me that. We've had people say like, we've never been told this. We've been in business no one's ever said this to us. I'm like, because this is what it's going to take, guys.
Right.
like you haven't built the house correctly. You haven't, like, these things don't make sense. Before you want to go out and get all the attention and the marketing and the influencers and the podcast studio.
Make sure the car rides first, right?
I always call it the story, like, make sure the house doesn't fall over. Your house is like on two pieces of timber. Like, it needs to be built from ground
foundation.
up. Yeah. And people, same thing with your space, right?
Yeah.
And this is my core purpose, because I really love helping people go from where they're at to where they want to get to, and give my magic to their business. And I really feel in 2023, people really do we need to stand out, because attention is the currency, and
quite literally,
people are not getting that. Why isn't it working? Like, what's not? You know, you just can't stay in your local area. You just can't keep doing the same things. You got to adapt, man. And a lot of people, one, they not educated, they don't know. Two, they're scared. Or three, they're just tired of, like, giving more money out to people that are trying to show them hey, here's the pretty picture, but nothing happens from it. So
when you look at how you got your start, though, because obviously you weren't always like that, right?
No.
You weren't always the guy who could just bring charisma into the room and transform just the experience of everyone there. Like, that took time to develop. So what was it like for you when you didn't have that? Like, explain to me, like, what your background is, where you came from.
Yeah, well, it's an Australian accent. Let's clear that part up.
Yeah.
People still thinking, like, is he Kiwi? Is he London?
Exactly.
You know, like, where is this guy from? He's got this, like, really unique, like, Eurasian look. You know, his eyebrows are better than my wife's. I get it. You know?
It happens. It happens.
So, no, I'm not the person to be like, hey, listen, you know, I wasn't hugged as a child. I don't have that sob story. Okay. That's another thing as a speaker. I didn't live on the street. I wasn't selling drugs at 8.
Okay.
I'm just going to clear that up, because I feel like everybody's got that kind of, like,
there are a lot of those stories out there.
However, my biggest problem is my personality's always been people first. It's always been the stage guy.
Okay.
Like, it's always been, I want the attention and I want to talk to people, and I'm the host of any cool party. However, my problem for so many years is I didn't know where I fit in.
Okay.
I never realized where I should fit in the ecosystem of this planet. And I think that's also why I traveled for so many years. You know, I've been to, I don't know how many countries. I've been to 34. I lived in 10 of them.
Wow.
Lived. Like, I have the you know, the card, the ID. So like, I put some time into, like, staying in a country.
Okay.
And I think I never really fit in, because I was like, well, entertaining is great, but I'm such a pattern person, man. And I would see people like, man, I look at this person's life, I'm like, I don't want that. Like, is this what they have to do? And then I see, like, kind of behind closed doors, I'm like, they're miserable, they're angry, they're addicted to something. They're just like, they're going through this. I'm like, I don't want that. So I'm constantly like, where can I fit in? So my problem was, like, I never fit in. And I think a lot of people can understand that, even if they have a
100%.
normal standard, let's say, they're a physician, but they know that deep down
They're different.
I'm different. Yeah. I know it. This is the core things we need to do, but I don't want to be this guy just running 60 hours, 70 hours a week to make 250. So
when you look at that knowledge, you say you've always had that, like that you always had an understanding where you didn't fit. Like, what motivated you to get up and move? Because there's a lot of people who feel that way. Like you basically acknowledge that. So, but so many people just stay where they are, right? So what was it about you, or at least maybe it was your upbringing or something you witnessed, or is it just innate that you were okay? Say, listen, I don't fit here. I'm going to pick up and I'm going to go.
Yeah. So there's a couple great things about living in Australia, right? We're very down to earth.
Yeah.
We're very easygoing. The one thing I do like about my personality is that I don't get caught up in the drama and sometimes the American hype. Like, I sell hype a little bit sometimes,
right.
But I don't get caught up in this. We weren't raised to be this. We're very easygoing, relaxed. But the cons of that sometimes is that we're too relaxed. I didn't come to this country because I needed to live in America. Right. I came to this country because I wanted to have the opportunities to I believe in the American dream, man. I know that this country has got way too many problems right now, but still from the core, you can come here.
Yep.
And if you can find a way to get here and live here, you can create anything you want. No one's going to say no. They're
Right.
like, hey, work hard. Just put the time in, man. You know, like, come on, bro. Like, do it. Like, I want that.
Right,
Australians like, hey, 60 grand, we have free health insurance. We're good.
Content.
Yeah, content. Like, you made it. 80 grand, you made it. I'm like, I always had that drive to go find more. And I think I had that when I hit 17. We have a thing called schoolies, which is like spring break.
Okay.
I didn't go to schoolies, right?
Okay.
I didn't the drinking, the partying. That wasn't
your scene.
I left. I went to Asia.
Wow.
And I saw
At 17.
Yes, 17, 18. You know, like because obviously I'm half Sri Lankan too.
Right, yeah.
So, but I was like, let me get out of here. When you're by yourself in Singapore,
Right.
like you're seeing life, and this is before 2000 and like. This is a while ago, man. So it's like four. It's different, right? What we weren't as connected as we were then. So you see life differently. So to your question, I think that there's that wanderlust drug that I had inside of me.
Okay.
Because once you've seen that side, you look back, you're like, yo, what else is there?
Exactly.
So then you start going to all these countries, and then 1 hour away is Vietnam, 2 hours away is Hong Kong, 4 hours away is Tokyo. You literally get on a plane, close your eyes, you get out, and you're like, I'm in a whole different culture.
Yes, 100%.
And you just learn, you have this confidence, and you learn so quick and fast. That's why I believe when I have children, like, first thing, we're going traveling. Like, you do.
100%.
That you need to get your children and your people to see a different side of life. Because if you're only in a box, that's all you know. Go and hang out in Thailand and have a $1 bowl of soup on the street with a ladyboy walking past.
Experience
like, what is going on right now, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, to your question, it's always been innate in me to be like, I go to travel. There's magic with people around the world.
100%. Like Arena and I have always been into traveling, and when we were about to have children, we made a promise to ourselves that was never going to change. Like my son Ryan, when he was born, he was on a plane by the time he was 2 months old. So at the end of the day, travel is just part of our life.
I love that
because the world is your classroom.
194 countries, man.
That's amazing.
And people,
we could do it.
194 countries. And people think they've seen it on one.
Not even close.
Are you crazy to me?
Not even close.
I haven't even
Some people have not even left the state that they live in, right?
Some people have never left their little area.
Exactly.
Right? But to go and see the world, it gives you so many things which helped me at a young age, gave me way more confidence because you're in a country by yourself. All you have is two things. You have your gut, like telling you like what to do. You have to keep it safe, but you also have to learn to speak to people.
Right.
Because if you don't, you're going to be a loser in your bedroom or in the hotel.
Right.
You have to learn.
To get out.
You have to connect. You have to be social. So because you're in a new place, all you have is like, well, I could be rude and be a dick, and no one will, or I have to be I have to be naturally likable, naturally interesting, and you see it differently, man.
Wow. When you're migrating country to country.
Yeah.
You're staying, you're making a home for a bit, but then you're moving on.
Yeah.
What was like the most transformative thing in that experience? Like the moving on experience? Like, because again, I think that is such a foreign concept for so many.
Of course.
But the value there is just like immense.
Greg, that's a great question. The ability to pick up and start again was just, I feel like this is why I'm able to take so much more. Rejection is nothing to me.
Right.
Like, and I know for me, it's nothing. For me, I know the feeling of having to start again and go meet new people. And you become really great at building fast because you don't have, like when I lived in Japan, you don't have, I wasn't there for 10 years. So you get on the ground. I always like live in the city, get on the ground. Quick.
Figure it
Who
out.
can I meet? Who can I meet? Where do I go? What networking events? Okay, where's the coolest restaurant in town? Who's the cool bartender? Like, who's the person that I could pay as my tour guide to introduce me? Like, I was very good at making things quick. Like, I always say this, speed is my best friend. Speed is my wingman. And I think even a lot of businesses fail to understand that because they're waiting so long to implement. By the time they go and implement, it's too late. Like, move quick.
Move quick.
Like, what are you scared about? Oh, you're scared to fail? Like, but okay, then then give me the next play. Like, let's just go figure it out. Like, no one cares. That didn't work, do that. No, it didn't work, do that. That didn't work, do that.
When you're migrating though from country to country, like how did you take care of yourself financially? Like what were you doing in order to make money and to be able to get the dollar bowl of soup?
Yeah, well, I wasn't a male escort, you know.
Okay.
No, well, in a way, I was entertaining through speaking, through magic shows.
Even then.
Yeah. So what I would do, one of the strategies is like, let's say I was in Australia and there'd be like a $5,000 gig to Singapore. So yeah,
that's how you
so
made
they're
it.
like,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
hey, we
yes.
got 7,500, right? All in. So I would go Brisbane to Singapore. It'd be like 1,200 returns. So I got my flight. They give me usually 2 days at the hotel.
Okay.
Right.
And then after that, it's on your own.
No, you're on your own. So
Okay.
I'd be like, well, I don't need to be anywhere.
Right.
So now that's just the way I started to like find my place.
Yes. Okay.
So I would be like, okay, I've got two days for this event. I go do the event. You know, obviously I'm not saving money. So I've got like $6,000 left.
Right.
Okay, what can I do with the 6? Great. So I might go get like a cheaper place for 3 days or a cheap hotel, go around, or hey, I might go to Vietnam, check that out. It's a flight, I can come back. So that's what I would do a lot to get by. Now, financially, from your point of view, I don't regret it because it's like, look, you can always make more money.
Absolutely.
Like
100%.
I feel like I'm 75 years old and like with this body, with this age, because I'm like, my knowledge, I see life differently, man.
You've experienced life.
Yeah,
in all of its forms.
I see it. I see people differently. I don't get caught up in a lot of this stuff people get caught up in, and I'm like, I think this has given me because of the travel, because of like, it's like I'm coming from a different planet. It's like I'm like, you don't understand. You don't see it. There's different money. There's different people, different. You know.
What was the most challenging though that you went through in that experience? Like there had to be. Again, you're a foreigner in foreign lands. Right. Like there had to be some impediments that you've experienced.
Yeah, I think for a lot of the problems, because like anything, I want it now and I'm impatient. People just, they know you're new. People are more guarded. Most people live in a state of fear and a state of what's the opposite of abundance? Non-abundance? Lack of abundance, yeah. So when you come in and listen, like one thing just to come back to the travel, what it really does give you is a self-worth. You really get to know your pros, but you also get to know your cons very quickly. Yeah. And I think with my personality and my energy and how I am, I know it can turn people off at the beginning, because it's when I'm like this all the time, this isn't, I don't get off the camera and start swearing and like be exactly. I'm like this. And most people don't have that energy. Most people don't have that high on life. Let's do it. So it actually guards people.
Yeah, because they're not sure, are you being authentic or not?
Yeah, of course, because most people are living in a very like level 2 state. Yes. So when I'm a level 10 and I come in and I'm quick, I know what I'm talking about, I know how to move, like, you know, I look after myself. It actually, the biggest problem is it took longer to build a relationship because they think it's all just one big act. Right. People feel like you're just a fly-by-night guy. Like, who is this random dude from Australia coming in? There's no sense of like, we don't know your backstory, your background.
Where's the connection?
Right. You're an entertainer. Like, I get it. And that's what stopped me, I think, from making those relationships deeper, because I'm not there long enough. Yeah. And
speaking of not there long enough, I think when you migrate, obviously, you're not only are you abandoning what you just left, I mean, and abandon is probably the wrong word, but you're leaving behind the experience you've just had to go have a new experience.
Oh yeah, man. And
like each and every time. And
I know this too. Look, I know that trying to find myself, it sucks sometimes too, because I would build quick, and I realize in my gut deep down, I'm not meant to do this. You know, I build relationships and really lead people, and I get it. Like, it's not that I think people understand, but I know at the time they probably felt a bit hurt. Yeah. Because I'm bringing everybody's in, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, I'm selling it. And then I'm like, I'm gone. I'm out. Yeah. Yeah. And like, but I don't know, what do I do? You know, I feel like I didn't hurt them personally, but I was trying to find me. And that's why I did so many things, man. I ran a nightclub in Asia called Playboy. You probably know the Playboy nightclub. I did that for a while. I ran a digital media agency. This is like while I was getting enough money for speaking and performing because it was like one night, two nights. So I'm like, what am I going to do for the next 3 weeks? I got to do something.
Yes.
So I'd always try and find other things that I can really stick with, but it just wasn't.
But that business experience though taught you immense things as well.
Yeah,
because like trying to run a nightclub in the middle of Asia or trying to start a digital marketing company with like a week of boots on the ground, like what skill sets were you able to develop through that type of experience?
Getting in front of people fast.
Okay.
Learning how to actually connect with them on an authentic level. Giving people the feeling of like giving them value. And I know that word gets thrown out a lot.
Yes.
But at someone at your level, for example, someone tries to come in and try closes you on like, hey, we're going to save you money or we're going to make you money. Cool, right? But you've heard every pitch.
Correct.
Like, how can I connect with you as a person and allow the relationship, and then we do something different, and then maybe on the bus ride or a boat ride to somewhere, you say to me, hey, tell me about that idea again. Like, that's
exactly
it. That's the whole play.
Exactly.
Right? And I've seen that when I lived in Dubai. I saw that when I lived in Singapore. I saw that when I lived in Tokyo. Like, it was always the biggest players. And I still have to remember this today. Very hard you just come in and try and like slam. Like, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. You got to get to know them on like such an intimate level that they're going to throw you a bone randomly.
Right, exactly.
And like, obviously we talk about it, but like, that's how they play. That's, you know, and
I know it
you know,
well.
for way firsthand. Like, so to your question, yeah, I was really great in getting in front of the right people and being around, I call it the cool kids party, but being around the movers and shakers.
Okay.
Right.
And getting around them ultimately led you to make decisions to move to different locations, right? So you were on one side of the planet and you decided to come to a new side of the planet.
Yeah, I lived in Asia for a long time.
So
Asia was my stomping ground.
What was the impetus to get you to the States?
Yeah, so I was living in Japan.
Okay.
And I was living in Vietnam and Japan, and I was trying to make moves, right? And I realized like the problem I had was language. And I know that, you know, obviously body language is, you know.
It helps, but it's not all.
You need to speak their native tongue. And I realized like, listen, I said to my dad, what am I doing? Like, I've got to be in a place where I have full control over the language. So 2016, right? I was like, I got to get my visa to the States. And because I was a famous entertainer, and I had, you know, I didn't tell you the YouTube story, but I had millions of views on YouTube. I was creating content as well. I had the ability to apply for the O1.
O1, okay.
O1 is probably, if not the hardest visa.
But you had all the background to do
I had the background and I did the right thing. I had all the documentation. It wasn't like newspapers. I was happy. I saved everything online or on a hard drive, right? Okay. So that being said, I applied for my O1, and, you know, the story is like, I didn't have the money to get the visa. My parents didn't have the money, and I had to do the hardest thing I ever had to do. I talk about this on stage all the time. Probably one of the top 3 hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. I had to borrow money. I've never done that before. Okay. Parents, it's different. Yeah. Go in, like anyone listening right now who's done this, it's different for an investor money because you have a plan. Go and ask, and I've asked every high-end person like yourself, like how hard. Go and WhatsApp or voice message 5 of your friends and say, I need $20,000 tomorrow or next week. It's extremely challenging, man, because you're going to get like, and let's say you're super friends with them. So I was asking for over 5 figures. It's about 12,000 US. It's about nine grand, I think, for Australian, right? And I WhatsApped all my friends. I was on my parents' couch upstairs, and I was so like, I'm not really a crier, but I felt like I wanted to cry because I was so insecure and so, I need to borrow money. And like, I've never done this before.
Well, money's the last taboo, right? You'll talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll before you talk about money with anyone.
Why?
It's
Why?
It's
It
culturally
bothers
bred.
me. It
It's
bothers me.
Culturally bred that
I
way.
like, for me now, man, like I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is more important to me than $500.
Exactly.
And 500, but people like, you take this, like, let me come back to something. If you and I, we wouldn't throw out $500, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, $500, but someone will waste 5 hours with someone.
Absolutely.
10 hours with
time
someone,
is so
3
much more
years with a
valuable.
girlfriend or a boyfriend or a partner, 4 years with a business partner, but tell them to throw out 10 grand.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can do that. But you've been throwing that out for 10 years, man.
Yeah.
You've been working
More
with,
than- more-
you've
more
been
than that
working with this
value.
agency, this firm, these people, but you won't throw out that.
Exactly.
It doesn't. I don't get it, because it's like, this is still, maybe, I don't know, maybe from a psychology point of view, this is more.
No, it definitely is
You
a
understand what I'm saying,
misunderstanding of
right?
value.
Yeah.
Right. One, financial literacy is not really taught anywhere, and it should be taught everywhere. Like, for instance, we talk about money around our kids all the time. We
Right.
talk about it openly because it is just a tool.
It's just a number.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It is, yeah.
And when people don't understand is that your time and your attention is worth it's infinitely more valuable.
Right.
Infinitely.
Right.
So the fiat that we have in our, like, it's literally nothing,
I know.
because real value is immeasurable.
I know.
It's so abundant.
I agree with you.
You can always go out and make more.
Right.
So you're in this situation, you applied for it, you got someone willing to give you some money.
So I'm WhatsApping my friends, right? And I WhatsApp, obviously, my first 3 friends who have millions, right? Or like,
or had it
10
could
grand is-
easily do it.
they would have,
Easily
yeah,
do it.
they could have, we didn't have Cash App back then, but they could have easily just transferred it. And the hardest feeling for me was, these are strong friends, they didn't get back to me.
Yeah.
And one, like, blew me off. And that was, if not the most just gut-wrenching feeling, because I thought that, like, I didn't have a drug problem, or I wasn't a girlfriend, or it was, hey man, I'm trying to build my whole life in the States. I don't have a business plan. I don't know when I'm going to pay you back, but I need 10 grand, basically. I need this money to pay for my visa, which gives me some over to get to the country. They didn't. The 2 people that gave me money were like B-list friends, right?
Right.
They were friends, but they were not like, I
Not
don't
who you
talk to
thought
them. No.
would. Yeah.
And one guy gave me all of it. One other guy said, yeah, possibly, like, let get there and I'll help you out. And he did.
Okay.
Right. But one guy gave me
Wow.
all of it, and I paid them all back. But it's so crazy to me how those people come in your life. But that was extremely hurtful for me, really challenging. And I've had to deal with that again with other things in the last, 6 years, where I've had to use my, and I've done it again, right? So I've felt that I need the courage.
Yes.
But it's very
I think
hard.
a lot of people go through that too. Not just business owners, people in general.
Humans,
They go through experiences where they're brought so far down, mostly because of their own minds, right? Their own mindset, viewpoints over things. You were able to get through that,
right?
and actually ask for the help. So many people don't. Was there something that specifically made you capable of doing that, or was just something that's just your personality? You were able to get through it.
No, I don't think it's a personality, because we're humans. So personality is not going to give you courage, right? Your desire of the why is going to give you the courage.
That's it. It's the end result that you're looking for that pulled you in that direction.
Yeah, I needed to get to the States, man. I needed to be here. I'm like, listen, just step 1, let me get here, pay the visa, let me get the ability to come to the country, and I'll figure it out. Like,
And that's one of the, like, Simon Sinek basically talks about the why, and how you can use your why as the pulling force, because it's so much easier when you're pulled rather than trying to push yourself into a direction.
Right.
So you were pulled to the States. You made it here.
Yeah.
What happened when you landed?
I came straight to LA because I wanted to be a TV host and a game show host.
Okay.
And, live the, and still
Live that life.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's why #1 entertainment city of the world.
Yes.
And I came here with that's the classic story. Very little money, very little connections. I had one guy that that helped me get, signed to be like, hey, you can trust this guy as like the company visa. I did everything. I did all the classics, like get the headshots and go to this terrible terrible auditions where there's like 400, we call it cattle call. 400 people just trying to make it. And you're sitting there and I'm like, dude, what am I? And you get there like 7 a.m. You don't go to the audition till 4. It's just, it's a shit show, right? It is just a whole conundrum of problems. However, it's good that I went through that, but then I was a casting director for my friend. Classic story. I go and meet him. He shrugs the shoulder. I come back the next day. Trying to bring him coffee, and he's like, classic. Like, okay, do that. Get in the door. And I was a casting director. I got to understand why people are in this city, what's working, what's not working, so I could have both sides of the table. Okay. So I was the one.
It gave you perspective.
Yeah, I was the one picking for like commercials. Okay. I was the guy picking for some commercials, and I remember like I got to cast for the Jeep commercial. It's called the national commercial, which means it's all like a black, white, and Latina. Okay. Kind of commercials because they do Jeep. It's an international brand, and I got to cast for this huge commercial, and it was me and the talent. And we would do something like this where the cameras would be here. Tell me your name, tell me what you're doing. And it was a commercial, so it was dancing. So it's easy. Like, you just got to have someone with great energy. Right. But that opportunity for me to cast over 2 weeks gave me the understanding of why people are here, what they're struggling with, what they're dealing with, why haven't they made it. They have to be nice to me. I'm the guy making the decision. Right. They will answer any question
you have.
And it was me and then I have this personality. I'm easy to talk to. So we have time. We have an hour, like 30 minutes with someone. Okay, play this song, dance. Cool, you can dance. Okay, cool. Hey, man, so tell me something. Like, how long you been here? What did you come? Everyone has their rags to riches story. Oh, yeah. And most people have, they're lost. They don't know what to do. They're kind of here, chasing this dream, and they're struggling, man. Yeah. So I really got to understand, like, the numbers don't make sense here. Yes. I'm a very logical guy. I'm extremely like 1, 2, 3. I'm like, most people, most artists in this city, 98% do not even make a living. Correct. Like, not even like, not Will Smith. No. Not even make a living, man. And I'm like, what is going on in this city? Right. What is happening here? I'm like, do I want to play this game?
And obviously you decided that you didn't.
Because I saw it's not real. We were on stage. I was on stage last week, and I told you, like, show business is the only industry that I've never met another industry like this. That one day you're a A-list actor, you do a movie, you make 10 mil, great. You buy a house, you pay tax, got a couple mil in the bank. Then you go and spend it, blow it, have a good time with girls, whatever. Then you're back at the sushi restaurant 3 years later. Right. It does not. Yeah. Imagine if tomorrow I said, hey, guess what? You have to now go back, you even with your knowledge, and go back and work for 40 grand a year for John Smith accountant in Iowa. Yes. But tomorrow. Right. With no, you can't leverage your resources, you have to. Wow. That is what happens in the show business. You get these shows, you get these opportunities, you get the feeling of like, I'm going to make it. And then the moment like they cut your role, they kill you off in the season. Right. You're literally having to work at a $20 an hour sushi restaurant. Right. And I met these people who are in the audition room. I'm like, I saw you on CSI. Right. Didn't I? Dude, I watched you for like years in Australia. He's like, what are you doing? Dude, I have to work at this job. I'm like, but tell me the emotional feelings of this. And this is why I think people are addicted to something there, dude. Oh, yeah. Because it's not real. It's like this. Yes. And everyone's so insecure, everyone's on eggshells because they're like, we don't know, like, is this going to happen? Is it not going to happen? It's scary, man. It's really scary. And a lot of people are realizing, like, this is not it. Why? Simon Sinek's, why am I chasing this? What do I really want out of this?
What is the significance of that experience?
Thank you. Yeah, and that's really, you have to shave away, even for business, right? Okay, great. You want to be the number one hairdresser in America. Great, awesome. This is the questions I ask clients all the time. But why? Why? Cool. Oh, well, because I love hair. Cool. You know, what do you know the five whys?
Yeah, 5 whys.
why again?
Yep.
Great. And tell me, why is that important to you? And I want to get to the gut, their root
Exactly.
of what drives them and what I do as a marketing PR firm. Then when I have that, now
you can push it out.
Now we figure it out.
Right.
Because maybe they want to be known, or they want what do they? No, they just want to be appreciated for their hard work, and they want to actually help people in Uganda.
Right. Whatever
it is. That whole plan that people have been pitching you for 15 years, they never gave you what you really wanted.
Why.
The real why.
Yeah.
You're like speaking their love language.
Yes.
And once I understood that, everything changed for me. And it wasn't like one, it wasn't that light bulb moment.
Right.
There was no like, oh, yeah, I get it. Because I think it happened to me.
Right. The evolution of the experiences.
Why am I in LA? It's not because I love LA. It's not because I love to do a TV show. Right. I love the feeling of having people in front of me that I can be engaging with them, exciting with them, get them in the palm of my hands, and help them do something.
Right.
And a talk show or a TV show is my way to share that message. But for me to have that, I saw all these other, the viruses. I'm like, do I have to do it that way?
Right.
Maybe I can do it in a different way.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. The entertainment component.
It's great.
That's a good that's a good push in a direction. Like you're experiencing, you're engaging, and you're entertaining. But what you've done now is you've shifted from all the same stuff. You're engaging.
Right.
Now instead of entertaining, well, you are still entertaining.
Yeah.
But you're moving in a direction towards improvement, whatever that improvement may be, whether it's within their business career, whether it's in self-motivation, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So you're still transforming lives, it's just in a different way.
Yeah.
So so you're out in LA, obviously you're disenchanted with that entire environment, and you're deciding now what's next. The what's next is what you're doing now.
Right.
So what gave you the idea to make this transition?
COVID.
Okay, so it was
the world
just shut
still.
down.
It was the best thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to a lot of people. A lot of people, it actually helped them immensely.
So for me, immense as well.
Really?
Yeah. 100%.
Dude, I wasn't happy. I was in LA. I was speaking for corporations. The joy of the 30 minutes speaking for Citibank was great. But guess what? They just go back to their normal life.
Exactly.
I'm like, it's like you and me being Michelin star chefs.
Yes.
Perfect example. We go to a restaurant and people put ketchup on our food. A perfect example of you go and deliver a presentation. They're nodding, they're smiling, they're agreeing. We love it. You try to do a follow-up call or follow-up meeting. They're exactly in the same position. You keep doing that, and you're like, it's not worth the money, and it's not worth the build-up, and it's not worth me giving my joy of what I do, because people kind of are smiling, but they're just kind of like, yeah, we're never going to do anything.
Right.
And I'm like, so when I March 2020, I was actually speaking on stage in Vegas to all these event planners.
Yes.
Ironically, my last gig before the world started. They're like, it was like all the hottest event planners of the market. I was the guy to bring the energy and give them some wins. And when that happened, I was like, okay, isn't this going to be an incredible time? We can't leave the house.
Right.
That wasn't going to happen for me. I need to be with people. So WeWork was called an essential business, which is great.
There you go. So
I got to go to WeWork. I was right in Hollywood, 8 floors. There was like 3 people in the office. I had basically had like a whole level for me all day. It was wake up, gym was closed, go for a run, 8:30. I was there till 11 o'clock every day. Every day, like for probably a year and a half, when before things were starting to open up.
Yeah.
So what that did is it got me to understand, like, everyone's online right now.
Yes.
What is everybody trying to do? And then everyone was starting to promote more.
Right.
I'm like, how can I help people promote what they're doing? And we're doing lives, and I was helping people grow their social media accounts, and it was an incredible time to learn quick.
Yes.
Because I had everybody's attention.
Yep.
I knew everybody for 12 hours a day was in one place. Like, they're checking emails.
They're all there.
They're all there.
Exactly.
There's no distractions. So I could really go, what's going to work? That's not going to work. I tried to do this. That didn't work. I tried to do that. That didn't work. But because I was in a place where I was like a crazy professor for 15 hours, 12 to 15 hours a day, I could be like, what's working, that's not working, what's working, that's not working, what's working. And then, as you know, right, with business, you're trying to figure out your finesse. You're trying to figure out, where do I fit here? Who do I want to work with? Who do I not want to work with? I'm the kind of person, I jump in the deep end and drown, but I can respawn, right? I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit and do the business plan for 90 days.
Right.
Then, no, man, just let me go to the people.
Get it action.
Yeah, does this work? Yeah. Does it make sense? What's not selling? Do I like these people? So that's kind of what I did to understand now how to build this firm helping people, right? Whether they're a doctor, lawyer, accountant, really someone who wants to use their personality like you're doing to share his message or share her story with the world.
What do you think the biggest impediment, though, is for the constituents that you serve to take action? Like, why aren't they doing this?
You know this answer.
But really, like, it just makes so much sense for me to act.
But you're sold.
Just do it.
You're a believer.
Yes.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid.
But why aren't they?
Because they're scared. Why? Because they're scared of people, the feeling of the world. They can't have control of what happens.
They won't pull out their phone and just record themselves doing X, Y, and Z.
The number one fear in the world is what?
Public speaking.
Right. Okay. It hasn't been beaten for over 50 years.
Yeah.
The number one fear is standing on stage and talking to a crowd, and people. It's crazy to me because that's what I've done my whole life. If there is a crowd of people, let's say 500 people, and there's a tank full of sharks.
Yes.
Blood-eating sharks. You have a microphone and you have
the shark.
People would be like,
that's
like, if it's crazy to me. So here's the where I'm going with this. If public speaking, where you can see the people, is the number one fear in the world, what would creating content that you don't know what people feel and see when you put that out there?
Super scary.
Maybe
in the beginning.
Maybe that's more scary.
Yeah. It's because it's truly the unknown.
Because they can't see anything.
Right. They don't see the reaction.
They don't see the reactions. They don't control the comments. Things go viral. People, they have no control over the unknown. When you're on stage, you know very quickly if they like it or they don't like it.
Correct.
So I think, to your question, I think it's always comes down to that fear of it. No one's ever said to me ever, content's a bad thing. When like, people know.
Everyone understands.
Everyone understands the logic that if I'm more known, things are going to happen. Great. It's the easiest thing to do, to take your phone out and press a button and start talking. It's the hardest thing to start because people's feeling of imposter syndrome, the fear of judgment, the insecure things are going to come up. That is the hardest thing that people still, and it will always be the problem that I have to face. It's like, I feel like I should be getting paid 50 times more because I'm helping people transform and build courage and build certainty in who they are.
How do you motivate that courage, though? Because I talk to a lot of individuals who I would think would be phenomenal content creators, and they don't do any of it. Like, how do you motivate the courage in that type of individual?
How did you find your courage?
For me, I really just don't care what people think about me specifically.
When did that change for you?
When I was in 5th grade.
So you've had it for a while.
Yeah, I've had it for a long time.
Got it. Yeah. Got it. So that would probably be the find that core reason
to figure it out.
However, you have to help them through the first part, and that's extremely challenging. I tried to help clients be I was the new guy. I was like the first person they've ever used to help them push through that. It's very challenging for me. I don't come alive with that patience.
Okay. Okay.
I don't come alive with that process because it's real. It's like taking someone who, let's say, was overweight their whole life, and you got them looking really good and asked them to take their shirt off at the beach. They've never done it. Like, that's what it's like. They've never put themselves out on video. And I'm like, I need to now work with people that get it, that are already doing it.
Okay.
They're already running. I help them sprint, and then I help them sprint all over the world. So, but back to your question, It takes work, man. Yeah. And I don't think there's going to be something like one day people go up, I'm going to do content.
Right.
It's like, perfect example. Why are there people that are still 300 pounds, 400 pounds, right? And I'm just using as an example, visually example. There are people hurt on the inside, but from what we can see, my mum's a homeopath, and I don't know if you know about natural medicine. Mum would have clients that are, very, very overweight. And I'd always ask my mum, why do people not lose the weight? Because it isn't just, they know they're overweight.
Yes.
They can see it. And Mum said to me, that core reason of why is not powerful for them enough to change it. Right. I'm like, it's the same thing for people too. Like that, what is that trigger? What drives them to change? Like what has to happen? And you and I would think that's worse enough. You see yourself every day in the mirror. It's not enough. Same thing with people's businesses. They would rather stay at 65 grand, never scale, never take a risk, never take a chance. Even if they lost everything, they still wouldn't. Like what? Like I see the picture, but I'm like, what is that? Like, what? Do you have to go to jail? Do you have to lose? Maybe that won't even change. And that's, I think, the hardest thing. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Is like, it doesn't matter what you say, how good your clothes are, how much education you give them, how much like pain. If their pain is not, if it doesn't hurt, sting enough, they will always stay the same.
Yeah, it's so much easier to stay status quo, from a fear standpoint, from a friction standpoint,
right?
But the concept of momentum, once you get started, that's all you need. You just need to get started,
right?
Just give it a try,
right? But to add on that, I could push someone to get started. You can motivate someone enough. It's like you can motivate someone enough to go to the gym. How do they keep
for the one time,
for the 1 week, for the eating plan?
That's why gym memberships go up ridiculous in January, but by March they're empty.
Yeah, and obviously who's capitalizing on that? Advertising firms, marketing firms,
100%.
But I'm always curious. I'm not interested in the one short sale. I'm interested in helping you understand what you can do. I'm painting the picture of like this is the vision here of how many people you can help,
right?
How many people you can touch. You don't have to be someone you don't want to be. You don't have to be someone you do things you don't want to do. You can be you. Let me just help you enlighten that and show you how to do it. But like there are so many opportunities and income and impact. You've got to find that, but you've got to do it without anyone around. Because if you constantly need a trainer every day for the rest of your life, how is that going to help you? You just
that's why discipline is probably one of the most important character traits for any type of transformation that's sustained. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much motivation you have, no matter how many times you have someone else chiming in your ear, you have to be the person who's willing to do the things you don't want to do because they need to be done.
But man, most humans are weak.
Yes.
I really, like, one thing I've learned from traveling is like we're all the same. Humans is humans. Chinese guy, Spanish guy,
doesn't matter.
Guy from Japan, same girl from Japan. It doesn't matter. Like we all have the same needs. The hierarchy of needs. We have the same wants, the same needs, the same pains. But it's like, man, people are scared, man. They're so scared. And even the people that you think that are Supermen, they're like sometimes even more scared.
Yeah.
Like, and I think coming back to why people don't put themselves out there, because they've built this kind of armory in their one place.
Yes.
They've built it in my 40 levels up in Wall Street. I'm the guy.
Yes.
Like, I've got my suit, I've got my assistants, like I'm guarded.
Yes.
But they're really just super weak.
Yeah.
So like people like us, I think it's really important that you do things like this and we open up and share, because what we're doing is actually soft selling them and showing we haven't died.
Exactly.
We haven't died. And look at all the people we've helped. And then eventually you would think that sometimes people go like, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm sure you've had that with people. Like, man, I've been 100%. Watching you for 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been watching you for so long. I'm ready to move forward. Like, wow. So it really does take all these touch points from people.
It does.
Over and over and over and over again.
So what's next then? Like, I mean, you've been doing some amazing things right now.
Right.
Like, what's on the horizon for JayJayLive? Like, what's the next 2 to 5 years look like?
I want to go global, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the idea of having multiple offices.
Okay.
It's sexy. It's cool. It gives me the ability to travel.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know from a tax standpoint, I don't know how that's going to work, you know. But the ability to, you know, I'm getting my green card right now. Okay. So I've done the O1 a few times. So I have to be stationary in the country, which is fine. I like the idea of, I want to invest in people.
Okay.
I feel like I meet so many people with these great visions and ideas that they need the support.
Okay.
And it's not just like being a manager for them.
Right.
However, I feel like there are so many amazing people who have the drive, who are very self-motivated. They just need someone help the right lane and the right drive. And I don't know what that vision is, whether it's giving them money for a company or giving them money for an idea. But my joy is seeing my wisdom and my knowledge shine through someone else. Like, that's powerful stuff for me.
Wow.
Like, I love giving people a bit of advice and they run with it and you see the joy change. And I'm like, I will give free coaching forever. I have people in my life that I think they're surprised I don't charge them because the money is not what motivates me.
Right. It's the impact.
The impact of going, hey, do this. And they do it, and they get a joy. Yes. I'm like, come back, and they, it's like this whirlwind. If they ask me for more, I give them more. I'm like feeding the pigeons. You want one? Go. Come back, go. And for me, I really feel like there's enough people on this planet that I know I can connect with without having to like force them to work with me or persuade them or like, you know, man, you know, the gut feeling. Like it's easy to talk to you, right? Like it's easy. Like I don't want to have to force and convince. There's sales and then there's this isn't a good fit. Like you know, there's education and like this is some of the fears that you're dealing with in the objection handling. But you and I both know, like, dude, if it's not on,
it's not.
Because I've done it before. You've done it. I'll push people or squeeze. I've squeezed people. Like we'll work it.
It either works or
then
doesn't.
You're in the
work.
deal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Because I'm unraveling all these problems that I knew. Like I'm like, how dare me? So to do that, like, man, multiple times, you know, and I think anyone that's ever had a service-based business, you take on a client, you're sitting there at Tuesday night, the money's gone, and you don't know where the money is. You're like, what did I just do? Why am I doing this? You know?
Right.
But yeah, no, for me, it's global. For me, I really feel that I know that I'm meant to have the ability to move and meet people. I never had the vehicle. It was always me, show boy me, like, which is fine, but it doesn't help people. It's very much it's like a quick shot. Like I was like a quick tequila shot. People are like, oh, great. And then I want to be the meal that they have to keep eating, or I want to be constantly around them. So, yeah.
So you're here right now in your career and you want to be global. You want to be here. Like, what has to change for that to happen?
Yeah, well, we can talk about my insecurities of what I struggle with. Let's get out the scroll of problems today. I think firstly, like as I talk about what I help clients with, getting the house in check, before I go out and knock on new doors, I got to get the house dialed in.
Okay.
I got to get you got to have a predictable cash flow. Yep. You've got to have the clients. You've got to have the offer that's working, that's tight. Yes. It doesn't matter. Like, I need to learn classic problem. Like, it can't always just be me.
Right.
Because if I get sick, if for some reason something happens, like, then what? So it's like finding that core team or core offer or core strategy. So it's like, okay, cool.
Right.
Like, you know, and I don't know the amount of millions you need a year with, you know, maybe you can tell me of how many millions do you need a year, or how much money do you need, can you have as your core hub? Then you can go and play. I don't know those. So it's like having the right guidance, but I think I need to get it to a place where it's like, it just works. I'm still trying to figure out the perfect, not perfect, but like the right play, you know, that's going to like give me the exact joy and freedom and help. Because marketing is so broad, right? Yeah. It's like, who are the exact people? What is the exact offer? And I'm still figuring that out today. So I think, to your question, it's like getting that house in check. So then it's like, great, let me leave for a month. Can it run? Oh, it's running. Oh, it's working.
That's the best feeling.
I don't have that yet. Yeah. You know, and
you will love it when you have it.
I know. Yeah. Look, and I'll tell you something personally, like, for my own problems, like my problem has always been typical creative issues, like allowing other people in, right?
Oh yeah.
Like one of the biggest, the hardest things for me was having staff.
Yes.
I have staff now.
Right.
And I feel, oh my God.
It's so much better, right?
That things are getting uploaded, things are getting done. But that was extremely challenging for me because I want to control everything.
Right.
So I think we go through our own like mental blocks, but I'm looking forward to a place where it's like, I'm going to Tokyo. Like I always see this, like, you know what? It's Friday. Hey, I'm coming in. I want to see you guys Tuesday. Jump on a plane on Saturday. I don't have to be in like, I want that feeling of flexibility and freedom. And I'm a worker.
Yeah.
I don't have hobbies. I don't know what
Work is hobby.
This
is fun.
My life is me.
Yes.
People ask me that. What's your work? What's your hobby? Everything I do is what I enjoy.
Exactly.
So that I don't need to stop and try something else. But that's me though. Like no judgment. So like everything I do is in flow of the things that make me come alive. So if I want to go to Paris, I'm going to go to Paris and I'm going to go I'm not just going to go. I'm going to find a way to like, how can I make this part of my lifestyle so it makes sense and I have fun.
I've loved this conversation. I can't let you go though quickly because I always give every single guest I ask first, every guest that comes on, if you wouldn't mind going down this mental exercise with me.
Sure.
Would you mind?
Yeah.
I'd love you to imagine for a moment that you have the ability to go back in time. Okay. And you can go visit a younger version of JayJay. And you're going to share one piece of wisdom with him.
What I know today?
Any piece of wisdom. Who would you go back to? Meaning what age, what were the circumstances you would go back to yourself to, and what would you share?
I'd go back to when I was like early 20s, when I'm just starting to travel. I would say lean into my personality more.
Lean in. I love that.
I questioned myself. I doubted myself. I wanted to be liked, so I wanted to try and fit in. And what I know today of how important it is to lean into you more, like triple down.
100%.
If I'm energetic and loud and fun and silly, and lean into it more, because it's only going to gravitate and attract the right people, and it's going to
authentic you.
The authenticity trumps everything, because they may not get you at the beginning, they may not understand you, but when they come back and they see it, it's like they're like it's like love. They're like, oh my gosh, I love this guy because it's not I love him because he's silly or fun or energetic or passionate. They love you because you've found a way to be completely all you. You don't have to have two sides and two faces. I wish someone told me from a younger age, like, don't try and force people to like you. That was a huge problem. Try to convince people. Just made so many mistakes with people and relationships that I lost because I was like forcing it, didn't work. Lean into you more, Jay. Lean into you more.
Well, this is actually a multi-part exercise, because what I'd like you to do now is to imagine that a future version of JayJay has come back to visit with us in this moment.
Okay.
What does he share with you?
Patience.
If only we all had more patience, right?
Yeah. Man, I'm still understanding how to bring partners in my life.
Okay.
I'm not talking about relationship partners. Yeah. I'm talking about partnerships with people. I've had some terrible experiences in the past, like we all have. I have a very strong way of work ethic and strong way how I like to work. And I don't know whether I'm too hard on myself and I need to be more patient, or I just haven't found the right person yet, because I know that not everybody is maybe as disciplined and as tight and as just on like I am. I'm extremely just present to what I'm doing. And that's hard for me when I bring someone on as a partner. Yes. Employee is different. You're getting paid money because in a way, like, I'm the boss. I am, right? But when I bring you on as a partnership, it's been very hard for me. So I think because I know you can't do it. I know you can't do it by yourself. So it's like, do I have to deal with the feelings of like, you just don't know and you have to wait for things to happen? Like, I think my older self would say to me, like, Jay, you've got to bring in partners. Just maybe have the right steps in play, learn from other people, right?
Yes.
But you have to take the risk. You can't control every partner in life, and you never know what's going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
And shit happens and things happen. But you need to bring more people in. I take on a lot of weight, and I think that's affected my growth a lot. Yeah.
Wow. Well, a younger version of Jay has gotten some amazing practical wisdom.
Yeah.
And the current version of Jay
Yeah.
has gotten some amazing practical wisdom.
Yeah.
I just don't want the audience to feel left out. So if you had one piece of practical wisdom to share with those who are consuming this right now, what would it be?
Find that core reason of you. Find that motivator. Like, what do you really stand for? Money aside, people aside, location aside, watches, whatever, all the material. Like, what do you really like? What is really important to you? Like, really, and understand that it's okay. It's not weird.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Alan Watts. You know how Alan Watts is? Yeah. Everybody's interested in everything.
Yes.
There's someone interested in something. You'd be surprised there are people interested in exactly what you love and what you do. So it's okay. There's no rules. Like, every time you question yourself, ask, why do you question yourself? Like, deep down. I'm really big on listening to my gut, man. Part of the travel is like, I really feel like my sense of awareness and patterns, I had to be so present. And my job for people was to move people. So I was constantly like seeing people. So listen to that. Deep down, listen to that. It doesn't lie to you. Don't lie to yourself. So I think listen to your gut, and it's going to be extremely hard because there are people going to be listening right now that know they're not in the right place. They're not with the right relationship. They're fed up. They shouldn't be doing these things they're doing. Like, how long do you want to be in this position for, man? But you have to ask yourself that.
Wow, man, this has been amazing, and I know that so many who have been just here like enthralled with everything that you're saying, they're going to want to reach out to you. They're going to want to figure out the best way to figure out how to be in your ecosystem. So if that's the case, like, what is a good way for them to get in touch with you, or to at least follow you, or how can they get to know you better?
Yeah, take me for dinner first, please.
Right. It's all good.
Little steak.
Wagyu steak?
Yeah, a little Wagyu, a little red wine. No, so yeah, like, you can connect with me really simply. Like, obviously I sell how to have a digital presence, like, so you'll find me. Right. But at JayJayLive, so JayJayLive on Instagram, or come over to the website, acespadesagency.com, because I was a magician. So I love it. Yeah.
I love it. Jay, thank you so much for being here. This has been so much fun. And guys, I know that you have absolutely been like on the edge of your seat, because as you saw, I was on the edge of my seat this whole conversation. Now, what's going to happen in just a few moments, you guys are going to miss out on unless you're part of our inner circle. You want to jump into becoming a member. If you have not done so already, check the show notes, figure it out, because JayJay is going to be staying around here to give us some actionable, implementable advice. And this has just been amazing. Make sure you're following him if you have not done so already. And until the next episode, I wish you well in your journey. Bye for now.